So now that we have learned how to generate the JWT token, we will go ahead and learn how to validate that token. So for that, we are going to expose one endpoint, and that we'll call it as a validate token endpoint. It will be a post mapping, and we will expose a similar kind of endpoint name, that is validate JWT token, and the method name will give it JWT token validate, and it will accept some parameters. Let me keep the parameters as it is. The claim we will have to import in here, and the claim is coming from io.json web token, and here we need to change the request body because this is for generate token. So for validating the token, you need to provide one token to this API, right? And that token you can provide it anywhere from request body, or you can provide it even in request headers or query parameters. Set it wherever you want to send that token, you can provide it. But for simplicity purpose, I want to provide this token in the request header itself. So let me make a copy of this, and I will name it as token, and required is true JWT token. All right. And we need to add a return type. So let me add the return. The claim will be the return type of this method. So we will make a method in our service class that will return us the claims. So token service dot parse JWT. This is the method I will be using, and this method obviously we don't have it in the service class, so we will go ahead and create this method. Alright, and what all things will be in this method? So this method will also accept a token that will be in string format, so we'll pass this one, and we will be updating that method in the service class. So we will be using this line of code for validating our token. So claims jwts.parse, this is a method that parse the whatever the JWT token you will be sending. It will be parsing that. It will set the signing key, that is basically your secret key that we have configured in the config map or application properties. So whatever the signature you are using for generating the token, the same will be used for validating it. If you are using different, it will fail. And parse claims, so the claims that we are sending as a JWT token, that will be added in this method, and dot get body. So we are getting the body of the claims, and that's what we are returning it here. Alright, now let's start our application and try to test it. So application is started. Now we are going to test this application. So for testing the application, you need to generate the token first of all, right? So in the generate token API, we are going to generate a new token. All right, one thing you will notice here, account number, this is the wrong claim we are passing in here. We need to pass account type from the body, right? So account type, this is the string that we will be using in our body, account type. Now let's send it. So this is the JWT token that we have got. Let's copy this token, go to the JWT, and let's verify once if this is correct one. So yes, account number, account type, and user type we are passing in the payload, and the same we will be passing it in our validate token API. Alright, this token. So validate token API, we need to create a postman request. So it should be validate JWT and token. In the header, we will be passing all the parameters that we have defined in in the validate token API. So we'll be passing all that, and along with that we will be passing one more parameter, that is token, and the token that we have got from the generate token API is this one. So I'll copy this, and in the token value we will be using this same token. Now let us send this request once, and we have got 200 response, and whatever the claims that we have sent as a generate token, that we can see verify it's the same that we have received. So you can use this for validating your token in the validate token API, and basically you can use this the way you want. Alright, so this is the way you validate your token. Now you can find all this code reference on my website, that is technotabs.com. You have to go to the Spring Boot project section. You will be getting the project in this section around here. You can refer the code from here. Alright, now this signature validation we have done it through a secret key. What happens when we want to validate using a private key and the public key? So let's go ahead and see that. So for generating the private and the public key pair, we need to go to OpenSSL and generate it. You can watch some reference video for generating the private and the public key. In this video, we are going to use the already generated one. You can use that from my website for practice purpose. So we need to define a private key, that is a RSA private key, and it will be looking something like this. Okay, so let me copy this private key and keep it in the service class for now, and let me show you all the imports so that you won't face a problem. This is from Java security. No such algorithm exception, invalid key aspect exception. Then here we have PKCS8 encoded key aspect. We have the key factory from Java security. Alright, so we have generated this private key. So you will be always using this private key in terms of generation of JWT token, and for validation you need to use the public key. So we are just going ahead in generate token, and we are going to use this particular get private key method, and we will be using that in place of secret key. And that's all the change that we have to do. In this case, we have to add the throws declaration here as well as in the controller class. Alright, and we also need to add the public key in the validate token API. So the corresponding public key, if you are not using, then it will give you a problem. Let me copy this public key. We are taking this public key and we are just converting to a recognizable public key that can be used in the Java program. So here as well the imports. Alright, and we need to pass this public key in our validate token somewhere here where you were passing the secret key, and you need to add the throws keyword in the controller class as well, and you are done with your token generate and validate. So let's run the program first. After it runs successfully, we will be keeping this public and private key in our application properties, because these are the sensitive data. We should not be keeping it in the code itself. We will be externalizing it, right? So let me run the program first of all. So the program is started. Now we can go ahead and generate the token. So we have got exception in here. that is max signature must be computed with a verified using a secret key, and it is not accepting the private public key pair that we have passed. Alright, so let's see what's the problem in here. So here the issue is that the private key that we have generated in here, that is using the algorithm RS256, but we are signing it using HS256. Let me change this to RS256, save it, and now let's go to our generate token API, send it, and we are able to get the token successfully. Now it's time to validate this token. So we will go to validate API, and we are passing that in the header section in here. So let me remove the token and use the new token, and let me validate it again, and we are able to get the token response successfully. So this is how we generate and validate the token. Now let's move this private key to our application properties. So how do we add this so that it will be readable? So first of all, you need to add a variable in the application configuration class. So it will be a private key and a public key. Alright, let me generate the setters and the getters for this. So the setters getters are generated, and I will go to the application properties, and I will use this private key. So how do we give it? And let me go ahead and take this, extract this private key from here. Now you can use the same private key in here, and you have to do some formatting because it will not be recognized if you are passing in this format. Put a backward slash in here at the first line, and after that remove this double quotes. You also need to remove these white spaces from here, so Control C, find it and replace it with blank characters, replace all. And you also need to replace these characters, Control find, and you have to replace this with slash n slash, replace all, and finally at the end you have to add this slash n. Alright, I will be using this to get the private key appconfig dot. We need to remove this static from here, not get private key. Now let's start the application. And you can send the request, and we got the response 200. Alright, similarly we need to do it for the public key. So in here let's go and add the public key, app dot public hyphen key equals slash, and we will take the public key from our service class, and we need to put it in the application properties. Alright, follow the same technique whatever we have done for the private class. Don't worry if it is giving some red lines. That's the problem with the STS and the Eclipse. Sometimes it does it, but it will work correctly, I hope. Now in here we need to call that application properties. We need to remove this static from here, and app-config dot get public key, the way we have done it here in the private key. We need to repeat these steps for the public key as well. So this is one more line we need to add in order to it for works, so that it will replace all the new lines with this blank characters. And we also need to do this in case of public key as well. So let's go ahead and test our application. So we have got this JWT token, and we will pass this JWT token in our validate token, and we have got the response successfully. So this is how we generate and validate the token. Alright, so hope this example is very much helpful for you. So if this video today has helped you in any manner, then I request you to please like, comment and subscribe to my channel, so that it will give me the motivation to make more such videos like this. So thanks for watching. See you again.